Alright, so as much as I love to use the 710, I just really don't know, man. Let me turn this on here. See how quick this thing will boot up. Timing it. Should be pretty quick. About 15, 16 seconds. And then there was another 5 from the other screen. About 20 seconds. Dude, that is over here somewhere. Yep, you see here. What's this picture? It's the Grand Canyon. Utah, Juniper. Oh, it's in Utah. Utah Juniper in Capitol Reef National Park, Utah. Juniper isn't just the key ingredient in a refreshing gin and tonic, and also the backbone of important wildlife, I think. The backbone of an important Wild West biome. No. Pinyon juniper woodlands cover much of the mountain state's middle elevations between 4,500 and 7,500 feet, acting as a buffer between scrubby plains below and tall pines above. Often, pinyons and junipers are virtually the only plant life in these arid areas. Some specimens, like the Utah juniper in the Capitol Reef, attain impressive sizes, not to mention interesting shapes, despite the dry, low nutrient soil. And then it just changed to the something probably in Peru or Iceland, something like that. Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce that. Storuro, Iceland. Yeah, pretty cool. Anyway, we're here to check out the radio. Alright, so the resolution that you're going to get out of SDR Play with it hooked to the radio, like the 3000 that has an RX dedicated output, is pretty impressive. The Omni rig leaves a little bit to be desired. I've been using it for a while. So if you want to click on something on the waterfall, and you don't want to tune the radio, then you don't need the Omni rig. But if you want to be on like 10 meters and 80 on the radio, it's not going to work. And the reason is because the radio goes through the front end before it gives you the RX output. So whatever filtering is on the front end, the signal passes through the antenna, through all that, and then out the RX output. So each band has a different set of filters, and if you go on 80 on the radio and 10 on SDR Play, you won't see much because it's blocking most of it. This is again another reason that I say that I think all tuners that are built into radios should also operate on receive, because you get an added benefit of a filter. Okay, and you've heard it before when you tune a manual antenna tuner, you hear the signal get louder or quieter. What's happening when you hear that is, as you turn away from the resonant frequency that you're using on the radio, the signal goes down because your tuner is acting as a filter. It's attenuating anything outside a certain range, and sometimes it's a very sharp null. So there'd be a little tiny point where it really does quite well, but it drops off of a cliff on both sides. real sharp tuning, you know, not real broad. That's usually because it's not a real good match to start with, but you can use that tuner to get rid of nearby noise, other bands, broadcast stuff. So it's really stupid that the companies put these tuners inside these radios that only work for transmit. And you're losing some filtering that you could be getting, some significant filtering. I can tell the difference on certain radios that do and don't do that. The 1000 does do it, and it has the option. The 920 does it, but the 3000 does not. The 1200 does not. The FT450D has the option to use the tuner or not use the tuner on receive. I think all of them have the option to disable it if you want to. So what that means is that it's just another relay in there that's being told to turn on or off. And it just blows my mind that they have $4,000 radios, $3,000 radios, and there's a tuner in the radio, but it doesn't work on receive. You're missing out on performance. So, ICOM, on the other hand, they do have very few radios that do what Yaesu does as far as not tuning. I believe the radio that I had, the only radio that I know of, is the 736, or maybe the 737. One of those radios that had HF plus 6 meters. It had a tuner real similar to what you would find in 756 Pro, 746 Pro. It has the two little electric motors. It uses variable capacitors. Unfortunately, there's no way to enable that tuner on receive. When I got so used to having these different radios that had that you would go to tune a signal, and all of a sudden the signal would come up, and you're like, wow. And a lot of people think, oh no, it's just a bunch of crap. No, the signal really did come up. Okay, it's it does help, even if you're only going to listen in your shortwave. Let's say you're a shortwave listener. Having a tuner to tune your antenna as closely to the frequency that you're listening to will increase your experience. It will make it sound better. It will get rid of nearby noise. It'll bring the signal up because you're now basically resonating. You're matching this mismatched antenna to the radio, and the maximum signal can transfer both on receive and transmit. Okay, it's not perfect, but I mean, the proof is when you hear the noise change. So, I guess you might be able to use other things to do this too, but it's just a bummer they put these tuners in these radios like that. I really wish that they would just spend a little bit more money. Hey, if you got to charge me an extra $200 even, I don't care. But I want that tuner that's inside that radio taking up valuable space and real estate to work on receive. But who am I? I'm just some dude with a YouTube channel, and Yaesu is never going to listen to what I have to say. And what's funny is the guys that actually might have influence with Yaesu never press this issue. They're very, very tiptoey around the Yaesu people. And it's just kind of weird. Anyway, I guess they must be getting some kind of compensation or something, and they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them. But they keep putting out these radios that we don't want. They keep putting out weird crap. QRP radios with a strap on. I guess that's a move in the right direction, but you now have this gigantic radio. You're basically strapping a brick onto a lunchbox. Okay? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm sure you guys know what radio I'm talking about. And then ICOM is basically doing the same thing in a different way. Hey, we got this head unit that looks like a Maestro. I mean, this gigantic body of a radio you can put somewhere else in your shack. and it cannot be attached to it directly. Kind of like the Kenwood 480. But unlike the 480 was a reasonable size. I don't know how big the new FX1 or whatever. They must be like just grasping for straws to come up with names. They've recycled the 101, and just like they just, come on, man, come up with a new name, a new number, a new something. Hey, maybe you could just call it something. I heard the Ten-Tec guy named his new vaporware radio the Phoenix. And I think Ten-Tec typically did name radios names, whereas all the other big three always have some stupid number. And I think that they do it that way on purpose, because then you're just like not really sure what's what to the casual person. Anyway, where I was going with all this before I went on a sidetrack was about the radio, about looking at the waterfall, about this kind of stuff. It's really good. Now, if you don't have Omni rig set up a certain way, the band key will not change on here unless you unlock the LO. Okay? I'll let you come up here, we'll unlock it. Okay. However, it does this really weird thing where you can't look at the part of the band you want to see. We're 490 and 300, which is pretty wide. We can see some signals here. You can see how worthless the scope is on this radio. And we narrow it down from 310 to let's go about 400. This band is a little easier, but some of the other bands, like 10 meters, I think it is, you just won't really see what the hell is going on. But the minute that you come in here, let's say we click on, I don't know, maybe the signal here. Oh, also, watch. It won't let me do AM. So, the minute you try and do that, it locks the LO again. And usually it does. I can't click on that signal because those guys will get mad if I include them in a video. Let's see. It's interesting because now it's working. Oh, it's decided to be on upper sideband. Okay, so I'm trying to get it to show you what it does wrong. But anyway, what my point about the resolution is we're at 680. We don't want it to be right here, so 6820. We don't need to be that wide. 709. Okay, this one looks normal. So I think it's 10 meters at 10 or 20. I know who this guy is talking. Oh, that's Chris. He's like down near Hollywood. Okay. Should we go to 20? We're 14,160 to 390. Let's go 14,110. We're about normal there. AI7R, Dave. But I'm not going to hear Dave. AI7R is our friend Dave. He gave us all the 3D printers. Really cool dude. What frequency are we on? I'm going to have to tell Dave, hey, I hear somebody talking to you, but I don't hear you. Dave's down there in Chandler. Or Bonita Creek, which I'm not really sure exactly where that is. But I think it's near Payson. Alright, so let's see here. Which band is it? Now, let's try 10 meters. Alright, 10 might be the one. So basically, let me see. So I think with 10, if you try to go to like 11 meters, I think it won't allow you. It'll only go so far. Yeah, so it goes to 27,530. It won't go further. I know there's a way to change that. $27,600 as far as it goes that way. If I put the radio on CB, it's not unlocked or anything, but if I put it on there, I don't know. Yeah, looks like it does show us. There's something right here, I think. It won't let us go back to AM. See that? So we need to come over here. Put the AM on here. So this is going to be Hawaii because it's dark. I hear Hawaii when it's dark. It's looking at 15 something. $14. If we were looking at the same thing on the other radio, see we're on 14.
Punching the wall with the Henry, so that'll be kind kind of fun. N6GSM, 7-3 for now from KK6R. Go ahead, Monty. Yeah, I just finished dishes, or what I can do anyway. Just thought I'd get in here. So you're taking off?
All right, let's look at this radio here.
Around there. But it's looking good. I got the yard looking pretty good there. I still have to get, I don't know whether I'm going to get a 23 or a 2500 and bring it in here and get the grabbers down in there and kind of, I got a couple of hills I got to knock down. So
we can't go 300, we got to go 500.
But anyway, nice to hear you, Monty, and sorry I'm ducking out on you.
We need to move the edges, though, but that's where they want to put them.
N7 POQ from KK6. All right, well, 73. Have a good night. All right. Probably talk to you on the other machine anyway. But okay, yeah. So I got a lot to do tomorrow. I got some stuff I got to do tomorrow. I'll get done and take care of. I got to get that. Then
3.5 to 4. You can see it's just not that good looking. We're 14,100 to 500, which is a bit much. So we can look at 14 to 14,200, and that's just going to be like what you see. There is a way, I think, to change the edges, but it doesn't really matter. It's just not the same. Now, it's good compared to certain stuff, but it doesn't have any competition with this. And then when you tune that way, if you change it from fixed, you could go center, and it will follow you around. But what I don't like is it does this. I want to be able to tune to the signal without it moving.
You know, 130 countries and.
You know, trying to find the signal. I don't want it to go like a smear across the band. So this format here for me is a lot easier. 14261. There's pluses and minuses to everything. I mean, look at this. We could really look at these signals. And then all we got to do.
Signals come up to a solid 5.9. I mean, you're going 10 over, so it's a great.
I mean, you can zoom way the hell in if you want. We could go like this. Take up a quarter of the display just on his signal.
One thing I'd encourage you to do, and there's various ways to do that if you haven't already done this. Find a local active repeater. I'm not sure how I found out about the 145.290 repeater. I think I started.
Anyway, I'm glad that I have the option to do different things. I'm just making videos to entertain you guys, okay? It doesn't really matter one way or another. This is just what I prefer. I kind of like this radio better than that radio, but this radio doesn't have the ability to do that. I don't have a simple, easy way that doesn't give me 3 dB of signal attenuation. So if you do an SDR switch like the one that MFJ used to sell, you're going to lose 3 dB of signal on your receive. And I'm not a rag chew type of alligator. I'm more of a listener. So losing 3 dB to me is a big deal. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later though. I'm going to play around with the radio and just listen around.